Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Nielsen Networking video. In this video, we're going to be going over, in case the title didn't tip it off, Metasploit and its uses in ethical hacking. We're going to start off with a quick overview of the modules, which are the guts of Metasploit, and then we'll segue into 3 complete walkthroughs, recording using my private lab, of exploiting 3 different vulnerabilities using Metasploit to show you how the different modules in Metasploit operate. That said, we will also be using other tools during this video, such as Nmap, Jack the Ripper, and more. I don't want to spoil all the fun or secrets and tell you now. So enough of the chit chat. Why don't we just get straight to it and get into those Metasploit modules. And as you can see, I'm already signed into Metasploit, so I'm going to go ahead and exit out, and we're going to start from scratch. That way everyone is on the same page. And to start Metasploit, you're going to type in the command, msf console. But we're going to sudo it, so we're root. Hopefully you have the root, permissions. We're going to go ahead and do that. After you enter that command, it's going to go ahead and do starting its framework, yada, yada, yada. A bunch of crap's going to come on the screen that looks scary. Don't worry about it. That's typical and expected. And then boom, you get the one of many Metasploit loading screens. So from here, we're good to start now with the modules. Modules, I should say, because there's about 5,000 or so modules in Metasploit as of the last time I checked. So what are they, and why are they provided for you? Well, of all those 5,000 or so, there's 7 main categories. We're going to go over them real quick right now. I'm not going to bore you with death by power slide or PowerPoint power slide. What's power slide? Anyway, the first one is going to be the exploit module. And modules, there's about 2,500 or so of these. And these are going to be used to take advantage of vulnerabilities in target systems. They're going to take advantage of your software vulnerabilities, your weak configurations, or weak passwords, or no passwords. These are, this is the module that's going to do that. It's going to get you access to the machine. And then this next module, the payload module, works hand in hand with the exploit module. And what they do is the payload module are sets of malicious code that are used to create, reverse shells, establish connection, persistence, perform other actions once you've compromised the system. And then after that, we have the auxiliary module, which we will be using a lot in this video. And these are modules that provide additional functionality that are not directly related to exploiting those vulnerabilities. They're used for like scanning, fingerprinting, or information gathering, things of that nature. Then the next module is going to be encoders. These are used to convert code or information. The next one we're going to go over is evasion, and these kind of go together. This is to take a standard payload and, what's the word I'm thinking? It's to not convert it, but to recreate it in a way that evades antivirus and firewalls and things like that. It's to customize a canned payload to make it, specific for each instance of an attack, if that makes sense. Sorry, that's probably not the most elegant way to say it, but that's what you're getting. And then there's the post module. You can think of this as post exploitation. This is after you're on, you've compromised the system, you've run the payload you want, and now you're going to want to, test the security controls to see how good they're good at stopping privilege escalation, or how good they are at maintaining or stopping you from maintaining persistence or data exfiltration or things of that nature. That's what the post things you would do after the fact. I actually have a whole video on this if you wanted to check it out. And the last one is the no ops or no operations. And what I believe these are, and I'm not an expert, so I could be wrong, but I believe these are, it's instructions to, once you've run the vulnerability, you've run the exploit, it keeps that remote connection open, if you will. It keeps it from crashing after you run like a buffer overflow or something of that nature. And again, I could be not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it does. So those are all of them. But after those, these are the 4 I want to focus on today: the exploits, the payloads, the auxiliary, and the post. And with that said, why don't we get back to the command line here, and I want to show you where these modules live, just in case you wanted to see. And after that, we're going to get into actually getting some scans and some target systems going and all that fun stuff. So let's do it. All right, let's go ahead and open this up here. Let's go ahead and make it bigger. And let's go ahead and open up Metasploit, shall we? And remember, we're going to run this command. We're going to run it with root privileges. So we're going to run sudo. We're going to put in our top secret NIST approved password. And we're going to let it boot up. While it's booting up, I just want to give you an FYI. For those of you that apparently have sensitive ears or just, you're annoyed by my keyboard, I went out and got a new keyboard. I loved my old keyboard, but since I love you guys more, I went out there and got a brand new one for you. So hopefully if you appreciate that like I appreciate you, you will, give me a like for this video. You will subscribe if you haven't. And comment below and let me know if it's any better. I'm hoping it is because I went out of my way to do it. So anyways, here we are. And you can actually see as Metasploit, the splash screen loading. Now I can't think after that shameless plug. My mind's gone. As you can see, it talks about the modules that are loaded here. So I said about 5,000, and I was pretty close. I may be under, 500 or so, but we're there. So once we're here, I wanted to show you the location real quick of, if I can type, where the actual modules live. And they're going to be right here, and it's going to be right. Oh my God, I'm losing. This might be a rough video. So if you go in here and you do that, and we go into modules, and we do this, you can see them. So we got the auxiliary. You can read. I don't need to read them off to you. But that's where they're going to live. They're going to live right here under USR, share, Metasploit framework modules. So if you ever want to see, and you could go in and you can go in the exploits and do an LSLN in there. And you can see, and then they're kind of subcategorized. And then if you wanted to go in Windows, because everyone knows it probably has the most, right? And go LTR, and there's a lot. And then if we wanted to do, what's a good one? Let's do SMB. That's everyone's favorite, right? Go in there. There's a lot in there. So you can see they got a lot of modules here. Whoops, I don't want to exit that. I want to clear out of that. All right, to get started, let's imagine we are on an approved network. We're working for a client that's given us permission. We are on the network, but they haven't given us any other information. So the first thing I would do is I would say, what is my IP address? And I'd go and I'd look and I'd say, okay, so it looks like that's my IP. Looks like we're probably going to be on the 10.0.2.0 network. But to try to verify that, I would then run an IP route. And as you can see, our default gateway is going to 10.0.2.1. And you can see that right here. Yes, in fact, we have a 10.0.2/24. So that's going to be a 255.255.255.0 subnet broadcast range. So what we're going to want to do here is we're going to start off with a quick Nmap scan of the environment. And we're going to do that, go in Nmap-F for fast. And then we're just going to do this. And I'm going to put in an asterisk here for a wildcard. You could just do 0/24, but I'm lazy or efficient, however you want to look at it. So this is going to run a quick Nmap scan. And boom, we're done. So we're going to go up to the top here. And we're going to look right where we started from, which appears, this is a little hard to see, but it appears right here. All right, so first of all, I am on a virtual network for this lab. So there's going to be a little noise here from, some of the virtualization technology. And that's what you're seeing right here, the default gateway, these devices. So this is the first legitimate device that we're bringing up here. And this is going to be one of the machines we're going to play with today. And it looks to be a Linux box. The next device down looks to be a Windows box, and that's at that IP. And then the fourth one is going to be my own box right here, which is a Kali Linux box. So now we have a little bit of a lay of the land here. Why don't we go ahead and target this machine here and see if we can get a little bit more information. There's a lot showing here already, right? Lots of services running on these ports. Maybe we can get some version here and we can actually look to see if there's any known vulnerabilities for these. And to do that, we're going to want to run another Nmap scan, my favorite tool, but we're going to take it a little bit further. Whoops, I cannot even type here today, people. It's this new keyboard, honestly. It's your fault, so bear with me. 10.0.2.1.3, see if I did that right. That looks good to me. We're going to go ahead and run it. This will take a second because we're actually doing a much more thorough scan. So let's just pause here. And it looks like it finished. So let's go ahead and scroll up. And here we go. Okay, so starting top up, we'll go. First port that's open, it looks like it's running VSFTP on port 21. And that's not good. There's several known vulnerabilities for that. But scrolling on down to the treasure trove of goodies here, we got SSH open here. It looks like it's using some weak ciphers down here. Very weak, actually. I'm sure we could get in that way. DNS is running on 53, 80. So there's some kind of web server running. 111 RPC. We got 139 and 445. That's going to be SMB. Let's see. We got a bunch of stuff down here. Keep going down here. We got MySQL. We have PostgreSQL right here. We got VNC. We got a lot. Okay, where to start? All right, you know what? It sounds fun. Let's start with a database and MySQL. Let's just go. We'll start with PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL. Say that fast. That's how you say it. We'll go ahead and start with that because I know out of the box there used to be a vulnerability, and we'll test to see if this still has this weak configuration where I know the database names ship with a template 1 and a template 0 default database. And if the administrator doesn't go through and clear those out or rename them, we can try to get in there that way using brute force, at least test passwords against it. So that sounds like a good attack to start with. And so what we're going to want to do is, first thing in Metasploit, you can do a search. So what we're going to want to do is search for what we're looking for. So we're looking for PostgreSQL, and we're going to hit enter, and we're going to get the results. Now you're going to get the matching modules. This is why we went over the modules first, so you'd have a little foundation of what we're doing. And if you look, you can see this is going to be an auxiliary. This would be a post module. This would be an exploit module. So it kind of hopefully makes a little more sense to you with that little bit of background we have there. And we're looking for one because I want to try to brute force this, login one. So we're going to start with number 7, lucky number 7. So what we would do is we would use 7 if you're efficient or lazy. You could also do use and cut and paste this whole line of code here, and it would do the same thing. But I'm lazy. So we're going to hit use 7. And once we do that, you'll see right here in red, it highlights that we are using an auxiliary scanner module under Postgres and right here. So what we're going to want to do is then we're going to type options. And once you do that, it gives you a list of all the options that you can set. So what you can also do is you can also hit a question mark. And that will give you a list if you weren't sure of, options or what other module commands you needed, and you could see them right here. All right, I should have probably said that before I did it, but pretty much you're going to need search, you're going to need options, and you're going to need set, and you're going to need run or exploit, however you want to do it, out of this list right here. Sorry, I'm kind of went down the rabbit hole, but that's what you're going to need. So again, we're going to start there, and you can clean your screen. So you're going to do that. And what we're going to want to do is go again to options. And what we're going to want to do is change a couple of these parameters. These are parameters that we'll want to change. So blank passwords. Do we want it to try blank passwords? Sure we do. Of course we do. Why not? I mean, if they're silly enough to do that, we're good. So how you change this is you type set, and then whatever the name of the variable is, passwords, and we put true. And now if we go back, there you go. And brute force speed, we don't really need to do anything with that. Database, see, it's smart enough to already know based on the module we're in that this is what we're going to try to do. And then down here, we don't need to change anything here. The password option, if we wanted to and you knew the password, you could actually put it here. You could say, set password, this password, and it would run that. We're not going to do that. We're going to use a password file, which is located here. We could go there and look at it, but for the sake of time, we don't need to. It's going to be your standard Metasploit password list. There's a password list, user list. There's a whole bunch of them, actually. They come with Kali Linux as well. But that's what we're going to use. That way we're using more than one, because obviously if you don't know it, you're going to need to brute force it, and that's what we're doing. So we're going to reference this. And then down here, there's a couple things we need to set. Our host, this is going to be the target machine. So we're going to do set our hosts 10, 0, 2, 13. And then continuing down, we're going to need to, let's see here, username again. We don't need the username. We're going to use the username file. And then last one, verbose is already set. Usually this is set to false, so that's weird that it's set to true. And then we're going to, I think we're good here. Is there a, oh, actually, okay, I skipped one. What we want to do here is we want to set stop on, damn keyboard, success. That's just my spelling, right? And we're going to want to make that true. So what that's going to do is while it's scanning, if it happens to come to the correct password, it's not going to continue to go down the password list. Because what if we had 20,000 passwords, right? That would be kind of annoying. So once we're good, we can go ahead and clear this and we can run it. And boom, it went ahead and ran. And as you can see, we had fail, 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 and then boom, we were successful. So now we know that we can log in with the password, username and password, Postgres, against the database template 1. So that's great. Now we have a user account we're certain of. So now we can go ahead and we can try to use a different module to see what else we can do here. Like let's say we wanted to see if there was a way to get other database names. So why don't we try that? So first we're going to need to change modules. So we need to do search Postgres. And we're looking for one that will let us do a SQL generic query. We got 10 and 11 here. But we're going to go with 11. I like 11 better than 10, right? That seems like a better number here. We're sticking with the lucky numbers. So set, or not set, we're going to use 11. And we're going to hit enter. And we're going to clean this up because that's one of my picky things there. I do not like it when the screen's all messy. And for this one, instead of options, I'm going to show you another thing you can do, which is info. This actually gives you your options, and it also gives you a description of what we're going to be doing. So options gives you the parameters you can set, or the variables, whatever you want to say. And then the descriptions will give you those exact things, but it gives you a little detail on what the actual module is. So I probably should have started with that one and then gone to options, but whatever, I took care of you either way. So now what we're going to need to do is look at this. So we're going to go against database template 1, right? We're good. Password, we know the password, so we can use that password. And username, there we go. And then here's the important part. We need the our hosts. So again, set our hosts, and we're going to go 10, 0, 2, 13. And what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to give it a SQL statement. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to go, let's see, what is it? Set, see, and this will change depending on the database, but I think this should work for this one. Databases, set SQL show databases. So when we run this command, this is the command it's going to run against the SQL. So what we're going to do then is we're going to run, and we're going to get denied. Okay, maybe that doesn't work for PostgreSQL. Let's see, maybe that only works for MySQL. So let's try this. Set SQL select data name. Again, my typing from PG database. And let's see. That's not going to work, is it? Nope. Oh, wait, I didn't run it. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so as you can see, these are the databases. So there's actually a database, there's template 0. So whoever this was did not change the default at all, but created this one hell helpful. I wonder who that could have been. So there you go. So now we're in there. Now what we can try to do is we can try to see if we can grab the password file. So let's do set SQL select. Or actually, let's do, I don't know if this will work. Load underscore file. And what we're going to do now, we're going to have to use regular expressions to, because you could see I'm going to have to use a slash that it's not going to be happy with. That's why I'm using this regular expression here. So we're going to go to etc passad. I don't know why I called it that, but it sounds good to me. We're going to close that out, put it, oops, one quote in there. And if we're lucky, that will display the password list to us. Let's see what we get. And here we go. And apparently I'm not lucky. Why doesn't it not like that? All right, maybe this module, this should work. Maybe it only works against MySQL. So let's try changing the module here, because there's actually a better module actually that might work for this. So let's go back to Postgres. And what we want to do is look for another query one. But we're going to use 10 now. This isn't my lucky number, but we're going to go with it anyway. So now we're going to use this one. We're going to clear it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to try this a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the options. That's not different. That's not what we're doing different. We're going to set our host 10.02.13, not 14. And we're going to use this module, which let me show you here. This is actually, it imports a file on the local Postgres server. So what this is going to try to do, instead of trying to read that using the actual SQL, we're going to actually just try to use Metasploit's module to go out and read us the file. So pretty cool, right? Maybe I should have started with this one, but it wasn't my lucky number, so whatever. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure we got our database, we got our username. Yep, we got our password, we got our there. Okay, so we should be good to go here. All we should need to do is, well, we want to be able to see what it returns. So we're going to set verbose to true, because otherwise we're not going to see anything. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to run it. And boom, look at that. It just ran and returned the what's in the PSSWD file, which anyone could see. So, you know, that's great. It doesn't really help us because there's no hashes in here or anything, but it gives us usernames. So apparently the Flintstones are here. We got some Molly. We got lots of stuff in there. And very helpful, it stored it right there. So that's great. So let's see now. We got that. Let's just go ahead. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go options. And let's see if we can't get, if this is poorly misconfigured, we might be able to grab the shadow file. So let's try set our file, and we're going to set it to, because this will contain the hashes. And we're going to go ahead and run it. And look at that. Look at that, boys and girls. Here we go. We have the hashes, which means we can try to crack that with another tool. So let's go ahead and do that. Browse here, because apparently that's where it's putting these files, right? So let's go CD and let's go that. And I don't think that would matter, but we'll do it anyway. And let's see what we got. All right, so here are those files. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename them. And I'm going to rename the first one. I'm assuming this is the first one we did, which would have been the password. So we're going to go like this. And I'm just going to go, all right? And then we're going to rename. We'll be lazy, see? Lazy and efficient. Just not correct. We're going to move the last text file to shadow, correct? So we got shadow and password. Let's just cat shadow. That looks ugly, so that would be our hashes. And let's cat, and that's going to be our user file. Cool, so we're good here. So at this point, what we can do is we can try to use the unshadow command, which is from Jack the Ripper. And we can do password, and we can do shadow, and we'll do that to combine them, and we'll do pay to win, because, you know, I play video games, and I don't like pay to win, so we're going to do that just because I thought that would be funny for some reason. And if you don't play video games, you don't know what that means. It's funny, just trust me. So now at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to use John, which is built into Metasploit, by the way. You notice I have not left Metasploit while I'm doing all this, not since Nmaps. I've done all of this from within Metasploit. We're going to run this against pay to win dot database. And boom. All right, so it just ran it. It told us it didn't really like the hash, but whatever. It still came back and it found the password for root is root. Oh my God, that's intelligent. And we don't know that until, let's verify. So let's go ahead and use Telnet because we saw that was open. And let's just see if we can get in using Telnet. It's there, and we're gonna log in. And look, can't do that. Who am I? I'm root. Who's on? Just me. So here we are. We went through, we used PostgreSQL to query the database, got the database names. We then went ahead and pulled down 2 different files, and then we went ahead and pulled them over to our local Kali box using Metasploit. Then we went ahead and actually used Jack the Ripper, or John the Ripper, whatever you want to say. Jack the Ripper sounds cool, but it's actually John. And we went ahead and unshadowed them, put them together, and we brute forced them. And boom, here we are. We are now logged in. Now, of course, this in a real world situation would not have been probably as easy. Hopefully not, because for one, they would have changed their default database name. They wouldn't have had such pathetically weak passwords, and they certainly as hell wouldn't have had root as their root password. If they were, they deserve to be fired. And I would literally make that recommendation in my report if that were the case. But all of these would have been really, really, really nefariously. It would have had to have intent almost to have this bad of a misconfiguration and this poor of security controls on a system. So anyways, I'm going to get off my soapbox right now and we're going to move on. And I'm just going to show you, we went through a lot of that right there just to, pull over database and all that. But what if you just wanted to be really lazy? And you did not want to do that because that was not at all what I meant to do. I wanted to actually just get out of that module. So bear with me while this restarts here, but you got to see another cool Metasploit splash screen. There you go. So what I meant to do was I wanted to search for another module that will actually just get us in a shell without having to go through all that. The problem is it's not going to get us root, but it would get you in. Assuming they have one. So what we want to look for is right over here, lucky number 13. Actually, unlucky number 13, right? So we're going to want to use 13. And as you can see, it's switched over to the module we're going to want to use, and we're going to want to do options. And this one's going to be pretty easy. We're going to do set our host, and we're going to go 10.0.2.13. And we do need to set the L hosts, and we're going to go, the L host is going to be you. I guess that's the local host, which is going to be 4 in my case. And we're going to set verbose to true. And we're going to clear, and we're going to do, I don't know why, old habits die hard, not ls. We're going to do options again. And let's see, we look good. So what we're going to do here is run, or if you wanted to be really cool, you could just type in exploit, or apparently not, exploit. Did I get an error and I didn't pay attention because I was moving too fast? I think I did, and no one told me. All right, so now we can be cool. And we can run it, and we go through here, and boom. When you get in here, and it says a session has opened, you now have a shell on that machine. However, if you do who am I, not a who I am o, and it's probably not going to run from here. So we're going to need to go shell, and then we're going to need to do who am I. You can see I am not a root, so I don't have as much right. Like if I go, I can see it, but if I were to like sudo or ls sudo, let's see. So if I were to do caddy in the sudoers, it's going to deny me. So I wouldn't be able to see other files that I don't have permission to see. So you would then need to find a payload to try to get you root. So that said, I think that is going to be it for the PostgreSQL example I wanted to give you. So what I'm going to do now is I am not having fun with this keyboard. I'm going to get out of this shell. I'm going to shut down Meterpeter. I'm going to clear it out, and we are going to move on to another one. So I'm going to go ahead and pick another thing to pick on, and I think we'll go with VNC, but you know what? I don't remember the port it was on, so we're going to rerun our Nmap scan right here. So let's do that. We probably don't even need the port number, but I wanted to see what else was running on there because I need to do 2 more examples here because that was the deal, and I'm a man of my word. So we're going to just run it because I honestly don't remember, and my habit of clearing the screen is coming back to bite me. SS SV-A100213, and we're going to let that run. And while it runs, this seems like the optimal time to ask you, if you're enjoying this video, to please hit that like button down below. It doesn't cost you a cent, and it really helps with the channel. I'm sure you've heard it on everyone else's YouTube channel, and you're like, whatever, dude. But it does, honestly, because then YouTube says, oh, well, people are really engaged. It puts me in front of more people, then I get more subscribers, and then we spread and we grow, and then we're awesome. So if you could do that, I would really, really, really appreciate it. And if you really don't want to miss any future videos, you want to subscribe, that's even better. And you don't want to miss our weekend questions and things like that. We do a lot of fun for the community around here. At least I'm trying to do more and more as I build this channel out. And you don't want to miss future updates, memberships, channel memberships and things like that, and an external website and quizzes and tests and training and all that great stuff that's coming. So anyway, that was my shameless plug once again. And during that time, this has stopped. So we are good to go, and let's check out what we got on here. All right, so we do have VNC, which is on 5,900. For some reason, I thought it was on 6,000, but I think maybe I was thinking IRC, which is old school, like internet relay chat. I don't know if anyone here ever used that back in like AOL. And then what else could we do? How about NFS? NFS solid. Okay, so maybe we'll do those two. Okay, so that sounds great. So we're going to go with VNC and we're going to go with NFS. So for VNC, it should be pretty straightforward, right? We just need to find a module for VNC, and that is anything but straightforward. We're looking for Linux. So we're going to go ahead and do VNC Linux, maybe? And no, and I'm looking more for like brute force, because how VNC usually works, especially on Linux, it's not going to have a username. It's just going to be a password. So we should be able to brute force it using a dictionary or a password file, or a dictionary list, or a password list, whatever you want to call it. Password list isn't really the term, but anyway, I'm going down the rabbit hole here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for VNC login. Okay, and that's better. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use the auxiliary, and we're going to use the scanner. So we're going to do use 0, and then we're going to do options. All right, and it looks like it came in at 5,900. We probably didn't need to go look it up, but you know what? We needed to see what else we wanted to play with after this, because we have to do 3 things. So it looks like we need to set our hosts, as always. That's going to be us, or no, that's going to be the machine we're targeting, which is going to be the machine we've been picking on all day. So we're going to go there, and we got verbose on. We're using this password file again. Remember, we're not going to try to do a username because we already know that VNC usually only uses passwords. We're going to leave blank passwords right now. I don't think VNC would work with a blank password, but you know, if this didn't work, we could always come back and try it. So I think we're good to go here. I think we'll just go ahead and run it and see what we get. And we have a successful password of password, which is very secure. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean this up again, and now we can actually try connecting to it. And to do that, or you just go VNC viewer 10.0.2.13, and we put in password. And just like that, we are in there. Now, what does this do for us? You know what? I'm not really sure how we would use this now to get a prompt. Interesting. So let's see. Is there a way to right click on this? Oh, there we go. All right. So we'd have to right click on it and maybe go to, here we go. Oh, look at that. We are high tech on this other guy's machine. So let's go if config and verify where we're at. We are definitely on another machine. We're there. Let's go and make sure we're actually root, which we are. We can do that. And let's do A as well, so we can see we got lots of good stuff in here. We can even go in here. So we could probably steal his private key. And if we did cat auth, and there you go. So there's lots you could do in there. Obviously, you're a root. And in the real world, if this guy had a password of password, I don't even know what to say. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and actually, let's just shut this down. Luckily, that's my virtual lab, so we don't have to fire anyone. But obviously, if you're to find a weak password like that, you'd need to let people know and let them decide what's going to happen. So that's our little VNC hack there. It works pretty well on older VNC versions. Newer ones probably, like I said, have a threshold that would lock you out if you did this too many times. But if you have, eternity, who knows? So anyways, let's clear out of that. And the last one I wanted to do was NSF, right? And I don't know, should we just go for NSF? Let's go for it. All right, and what I'm looking for, I'm actually looking for a mount point right here. So, okay, or this one, that's OSX. Nope. What's 5 NSF mount? All right, this is what I want. Right here, what we're gonna do, we're just gonna scan to see if we even have rights to mount it. It showed up in the Nmap scan as it was mountable, or at least it was running. So this should tell us if it actually is mountable. So let's just see here if we do use 5. Sorry, my brain's dead. This is really a much longer video than I thought. So hopefully you're enjoying it. Let's go here and go use that, and then let's go options. And let's get info to see if this is a scanner. Okay, perfect. This is what we need. It's just going to scan and tell us if we can mount it. And if we can, we're actually going to use commands. We'll use Metasploit to do it, but we could even do this out of Metasploit. Right now, the important thing to see is if we can even do it. And that's where Metasploit comes in. So what we're going to do is we are going to set our hosts 10.0.2.13 again, and we're going to run it. And yes, it is mountable. And it's mountable right here on the main root. Not the root like the root user, but the actual root of the file system. That is beautiful. So what we're going to do now is we are going to make a directory, and you can put this anywhere you want. I just happen to put it where it belongs, which is on the mount, or the MNT folder, which is short for mount. And I'm just going to name it hack me. And what we're going to do is we're going to need to give it some rights. And we're just going to be sloppy here and do 777. But it will work. Hack me. And then I'm going to go into MNT. And if you go into hack me right now, nothing here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to now mount that remote server. Well, we're going to attempt to on this server. And then when we change to the directory, we should see that system, that server's file system. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to do mount, which is this typical mount command. We're going to do a no lock. We don't want it to lock anything. And then we're going to go 10.0.2.13 as the server. And then we're going to tell it what directory. Now, if there was a subdirectory that was writable, you'd need to do that instead of just the slash. And now we need to tell it where on our system we want it to mount it. And that's going to be hack me. And we're going to hit enter. And we should be good. So now if we go into hack me, there's a bunch of stuff here. But how are we sure this is the other server? Well, we're not, because this could be our server, right? So what we can do is we can now go to, let's go to the home directory, because remember, we know the users on this. So they had Fred, Betty, all those people. So we go in here and look, all those are on here. Now, if we open another session on our Kali box here and we go to home, there's only one user there. So if we go here, you can see mount hackable home. So we're actually on that other server. Now, what can you do from here? I don't know. Okay, so that's another problem. So this is actually taking me, no, that took me to the root folder on my Kali box. So let's go back and do this. And I wonder if this may or may not work. We're going to try it. So we're going to go MNT, hack me, root, and see what happens. And then let's see where we are. And there you are, boom. Now you are in the root of that other user's box. So if we do an LTA, we can do it. Let's go into the .ssh, and let's cat those authorized keys again. Oop, not that way. And boom, there you go. We have root access remotely through NFS. Pretty crazy, right? And from here, you could go in here, and you could cat that pass, you could cat that shadow, you could do it all. So this might be the most powerful of all of them. So anyway, because we're at about the 40-minute mark, if I do my math correctly, which God only knows if it's correct, means we're at the end of this video. So those were the modules, what they do, how we've used them. You know, we used the exploit, the payload. Well, we didn't really use the payload too much. It was built into the exploit for most part today's video. But we used the auxiliary a lot. And so we got a good taste of Metasploit. In the future, I plan to go into in-depth. Probably won't be the most entertaining video, but in-depth of each module, and then give you a better explanation of how they all function and how they work in a little bit more detail. But I wanted to give you something a little bit entertaining while also knowledgeable, and it gives you a lot to go out and practice. So anyway, enough about that. If you enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Please like and subscribe, smash the share button, do anything you want, you know, post it all over the internet. It's all good. Use it. I know we have a few teachers that use it for their students, whatever you want to do. I hope this was entertaining. I hope it's useful. I hope it's family friendly, because I try to watch my language here. And I most of all hope you loved my keyboard. So anyway, have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later.